Got a ladder shot down that hole.
Of course, due to the size of the room and the fire code, we won't be able to allow probably everyone to be inside tonight, but as much as you can, bear with us. We are not prepared for overflow crowds. We may have to change venues back to the old auditorium at the police station, depending on how quick we address all the matters at hand. But at any rate, you're welcome to be here tonight. I just wish we'd have built the room a little larger so we could accommodate everybody in town. So we'll see how it goes tonight, and we might get everything handled that we need to do. If we don't, we'll continue on to a later date. Before we start our meetings each time, we have an invocation, and we do our Pledge of Allegiance. So this time, let's all stand and have an invocation. Father, we pause to give you thanks for this day of life. Lord, we thank you that you have grace sufficient for each one that lives today. Lord, we thank you that you give us grace and knowledge each day to conduct ourselves. Lord, we ask that you be in the meeting as we conduct our business of the city. And Lord, we'd ask that each heart, Lord, might be blessed, and each one might know you today in the free pardon. Lord, we thank you for that also. We ask that you'd be with our leaders of our country. Lord, we ask that you would help our president to have a successful summit with a dangerous leader that he's meeting with. And Lord, we ask that those that are on foreign soil fighting for our freedoms might have your hedge of protection around them. This is my prayer in Christ's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Got a couple of things that I wanted to mention tonight before we start our agenda. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. at the Hamilton Fire Department, we'll have our 15th annual Chamber of Commerce sponsored shrimp boil. This has been a good event through the years for our citizens to come together. Tickets are on sale at 3 locations I'm aware of. That would be the First National Bank, the Lister Hill Credit Union, and First State Bank. All have tickets available, and t-shirts, I believe, are available at $10 and $12, depending on the size of shirt that you purchase. Also, we're having First Friday events. The first Friday of July will be July the 6th. That's downtown, and everybody's invited to come out and enjoy that event because we're having good fellowship and good music on the square. Different people are coming out, very talented young people, singing for us at those events. We had a group out of Winston County come over last event. They were a bluegrass group. We'll have a variety of music coming in town and come out and enjoy the First Friday events. July the 6th will be our next one. Also, for the council, there will be a work session Wednesday, June the 13th. And I wanted to make an announcement for Mike Thompson. Is he in the room? Mike, I'll let you make the announcement about the new opportunity we've given the citizens to bring things to.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We started opening our inner dumpster at the city shop. Everybody knows where that is. It'll be open on Wednesdays now from 9 o'clock until 5:30 in the afternoon to give everybody the opportunity. Maybe if they can't get there on Friday, they can get there sometime during the day Wednesday up until 5:30. Maybe they'll be off work by then and have a chance to bring their stuff to the shop, and we'll continue to open on Friday from 8 to 4:30. We're hoping that'll be a little bit more convenient to people that need to get rid of some household items, not household garbage, but if they clean out a shop or do some remodeling in a bathroom or kitchen, to get rid of those kind of things. And two, we're taking applications too now for 2 part-time temporary employees in the sanitation department. So if you hear this and know anyone that might be interested in working part-time, come by the city hall here and fill out an application, and hopefully in the next week or two we'll be able to hire 2 part-time temporary employees. Thank you, sir.
Those folks would work till maybe fall.
Usually until the end of October. Yeah, the hours would be from 6 in the morning to between 11 and 12 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday.
Okay. All right. That's a new service. The vessel being available for trash to be hauled down, and that's 2 days a week now.
2 days instead of
one.
one.
We thought that service might be appreciated by the community. And thank you for making that announcement. I forgot to talk about your need for your part-time employees also. Okay. Our first item of business would be a recommendation to approve the minutes of the last regular meeting scheduled for May the 21st, 2018. I need a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Bob Joe made the motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
All right. Herbert, I heard you first. Herbert, when's that second? All in favor of approving our minutes? Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. All right. The next one will be a recommendation to approve the minutes of the special meeting that was called and held on Thursday, May 24th, 2018. Kenneth made the motion. We need a second to that.
I'll second.
Gene made a second. All in favor of approving those minutes? Thank you. All right, we need a recommendation to approve the minutes of the public hearing meeting that was held on Monday, June the 4th, 2018.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Kenneth made a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Herbert made the second. All in favor of that? Item 4 would be a recommendation to approve the minutes of a special call meeting that was held Wednesday, June the 6th, 2018. Need a motion on that.
I'll make the motion.
Gene made the motion. Need a second.
I'll second.
Herbert made the second. All in favor? Thank you very much. Item 5 would be a recommendation to hire 2 full-time firefighters for the City of Hamilton Fire Department. We'd like a motion to go forward with that.
Mayor, I think we need to reword this motion and make a motion to post it within the city first, and then maybe Monday night at our next regular meeting, get with Scott and see if in fact we need to run it in the paper again, since we've already taken the pool of applications, or if just posting it within the city will be sufficient, and then he can draw from the pool that we have.
Now, let's change that motion. I like your motion better, Tammy. All right, let's go with Tammy's motion on that. Will you reckon that as a motion, Tammy?
Yes, to post within the city first.
All right.
I'll second.
Gene second. All in favor of that? Thank you very much. Good idea, Timmy. Okay, then we need, on item 6 of the agenda, we need a recommendation to pass resolution 2018-6-11 that would authorize Goodwin, Mills, and Kaywood to provide engineering service for the Ragsdale CDBG grant project for the water, sewer, and road improvements. I need a motion to approve them as our engineering firm.
I'll make that.
Joe made a motion. Need a second.
I'll second.
Tammy made a second. All in favor of that? Are you abstaining or opposed? Okay, Gene abstained from that vote. All other 5 before that. Okay, that covers the initial items on the agenda for tonight and the announcements. Do we have other business that needs to be discussed tonight? Tyler? The microphone's hot. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So tonight, since I'm the one that started all of this, I'm here to finish all of this. I honestly thought when I spoke at the first council meeting, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks ago, I honestly thought the subject of our schools and our children would bring this community together. However, I'm wrong on that. My plan was not to cause divide this community. I've had a lot of friends come to me that are strongly against anything I've said. I'm willing to stand right here on my own 2 feet and believe in what I said and passionate in what I said about. But the reason why this group proposed a property tax, I do want everybody to know, was the fact that I met with the mayor and a couple of the council members multiple times over the past year to talk about how we could fund the schools and the situation the schools was in. Many times I was said no in certain directions. We done our research, and when I realized and we found out that the property tax in Hamilton, the village tax in Hamilton was the lowest in the county, that gave us our least resistance, or I guess our avenue with least resistance, I guess you could say. That's why we proposed that. I'm not up here to say we want to raise property taxes. I know that is a sore subject. I'm not for that. The group that's backing me is not for that. We're for the kids. We've got to find out a way within this community to work together to support our kids. I am strongly against the fact that some people in this community don't think it's these folks' responsibility to take care of our kids. I think I'm 100% against that. Mr. Williams, Mr. Walter Williams, proposed at one council meeting a 1-cent sales tax. I do want everyone to know that I have been told no on that multiple times by members of the city council. I was told no as early as this morning, or as late as this morning, on a sales tax. I tried to approach them on different avenues.
Can I say one thing? You say you met with the council
I
every
did.
year. First time I ever met you was in May, the first meeting I ever knew anything about this.
I do.
didn't have a clue.
Do you remember the phone call I asked you to the lunch meeting on that Thursday?
And I could not make it. You called me
Exactly.
at 9 o'clock in the morning. That was first of May. You said for last year.
I have met with Mr. Sanderson, Mr. Page, and Mr. Winsett at lunch. No formal meetings, just to talk about the city and what we
For a
can do.
year?
For over a year. The
Well, I didn't know it. I
The
didn't
last
know
day
anything
of
about
school,
this.
I didn't know you, Mr. Cochran. I always have this friendly conversation. I consider these gentlemen here my friends. I don't know you personally.
No, I didn't know anything about the school time problem until you come before us and meeting.
I do want to say the fact of that, though, that I believe these numbers that I presented at the first council meeting has been presented to the council before. I could stand corrected on that, but I believe they have been presented to y'all. I think someone's here to speak on that in just a little bit. But it was just general conversation. I want that clear. General conversation was had. Just talking about the city in general and what we can do for our kids. Would you agree with that, Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Okay. I do want some facts to be known. Hamilton is a county school system. That decision was made many years ago. There is a list a mile long of obstacles that is out of everyone in this room's control. That's the reason why we are a county school system. We cannot be a city school system. Mr. Hunt, Scott Hunt, that's not here today. We got prayers for his mom. I think his mom's been rushed to the hospital. Mr. Page went down a few weeks ago and met with Bradley Arant, which is one of the largest law firms in the state of Alabama. Andrew Ziegler was the attorney that y'all met with. I believe his statement was hurdles bigger than anything you ever thought about. Property tax, sales tax would have to be hurdled before we become a county school system. And it would take years, I believe was his words on that, years before we were going to become a city school system on that. Our bus routes, with Hamilton being a county school, our buses run outside the city limits. They run to Detroit, they run to the Franklin County line, they run to the White House community. This is also out of everyone in this room's control. This is even out of our superintendent of education's control. That is set forth by the state of Alabama, how those bus routes run. It has been stated that 50% of the students live outside the city limits. We were provided with addresses for every student that attends Hamilton, and they were mapped on the Barbara Cooper's Revenue Commissioner's mapping system, and they're noted right here. Every address for every student. 63% of every student that goes to school at Hamilton lives in city limits of Hamilton. 37% do not. I wanted that fact to be known. I would like to also note that there's a higher percentage of teachers that pay city occupational tax that live outside the city of Hamilton, the city limits, than students that live outside the city limits of Hamilton. It has also been a question of the $40,915.08 that was given to the school last year by the alcohol tax. How was that money spent? That money was spent on the following: classroom projectors, Elmos, which are document cameras, security cameras, DVRs for security cameras, power supply for security cameras, cabling for security cameras, science lab equipment, software for classrooms, and SAT practice materials. Mr. Dever, Mr. Ballard, and Ms. Hall have the receipts and are willing to provide those. Mr. Williams, just to make a joke here, this money was not spent on golden toilets, as you made that comment before. A sales
I
tax.
get to speak next, you remember that.
Yes, sir. I sure will. But was that a true statement?
No, I didn't say that, I'm gonna
Okay.
pick that up from you.
A sales tax increase can be voted on, approved, and implemented by our city council. This does not have to be voted on by the people. A 1-cent sales tax would generate an estimated $900,000 in revenue. We currently have a 9-cent sales tax, which is one of the highest in the area. This, I think the Marion County Journal posted all the sales tax. I've also been provided by concerned citizens. There's a list of 30 merchants in Hamilton here that have signed this that said a sales tax would be detrimental to the city economy. That's been provided right there. A property tax millage increase cannot be voted on, approved, or implemented by our city council without a vote of the people. A 5 mil property tax will generate an estimated $300,000 in revenue. Our property tax is the lowest in Marion County. The property tax would be a four-phase, which means land and personal. That is a law. I know one of the sore subjects is the fire tax right now. Many people brought that up because you're paying more than just your property tax. That's the law. So this tax, I want everybody to know that if a property tax is approved or made a motion, that you be paying on your personal property too. So there's no secrets. I want all the facts out. But I want you to know that I'm not naive enough not to take a $900,000 1 cent sales tax than a $300,000 property tax. But so how the money will be spent. At the first city council meeting, I provided the city council with a 2-paragraph form in this packet here of how the money would be spent if any money would be allocated to the school. This was worked on by Stephen Devers and Scott Hunt. Disbursements to the schools hereunder is intended to enhance student academics. These disbursements are to include but are not limited to the use of attaining school safety, educational materials, supplies, equipment necessary for classroom education, and educational facilities. The disbursements may not be used for maintenance, janitorial housekeeping, and or lunchroom supplies, salaries, supplements, wages, or purchasing of equipment. That question has been asked many times, so I wanted the public to know exactly what we were asking for the money to be spent on. Today, our city revenues have increased to record highs, and our local school system is ranked last in our county. Our county school system is ranked 132nd out of 137 public school systems in the state of Alabama. Today, we are community divided. We all disagree on the procedure, but I think the one thing that's proud is this room is full, and I've never heard anyone in this community say they're not for the kids. So, all I'm asking Mayor and the council is, there's tough decisions got to be made. Y'all signed up for the job. We voted for y'all to do it. Y'all got to make those decisions. Nobody in this room can make those decisions for us. But our schools need it, and I truly believe that our kids should be our city's responsibility. That's all I have to say.
Anything you want to add, Ryan?
Well, I don't say hi. I don't know. I don't have any notes. I think we're here today. I'll say the same thing I said up here at your last meeting. You know, nothing that you do and nothing that our board does changes our ranking from being 132nd out of 137. I mean, that's great. You know, we don't have, as a board, we don't have the authority to generate revenue. We can only spend what is allocated to us. And that's divided up and based on the number of students that we have. So therein, several years ago, other cities realized that, you know, the 10 mil minimum property tax that the state requires to fund education, that there were needs not being met. So other municipalities decided we're going to do something for the students in our community, and they did. And here, several years ago, the city and the mayor decided to give a part of the alcohol tax to help the local schools. And so that's, I think it's 30% of the liquor taxes coming in. It's divided up among 3 schools and going there. So when you rank, you know, the funding from local municipalities to the schools directly on a per student basis, Hamilton is at the bottom, you know, and y'all have seen that. Tyler shared that with you. And that started the conversation about, hey, you know, and what can the city council do? Can you do anything? And I think the constant message that's been given, I know we had 2 board members that represent Hamilton, and myself and the CFO, you know, met with you shortly after taking office and saying, hey, here's where we are, just make sure, you know, you understand the ranking of Hamilton and funding of the local schools, and concern, and you just started and said, hey, you know, let me get here and see what's going on and so forth. And you know, I don't know your budget. I don't know what your expenditures go to and what money you have that can be reallocated. But as a graduate of Hamilton High School, there's no reason that the city of Hamilton should be dead last in the funding of those students in their Hamilton schools. Now that's, I don't have a reason for that. All right, I don't have an explanation for that. So if, you know, I think Tyler, he's very passionate, all right, and rightfully so. And so, you know, the people of Hamilton elected you to, and had confidence in each one of you to put you in the position that you're in. He has tried to offer suggestions and different avenues to maybe help with the ranking of Hamilton. All right, so and based on some feedback, I think that some of y'all have provided him. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not Tyler's responsibility or anybody else in this room to come up with solutions for you guys. It's yours. I mean, they voted you to be mayor and they voted you to be city council. So if you're, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's your action or inaction. So either you're comfortable where we are in funding the schools in Hamilton on a per student basis, and if you are, you don't do anything. And if you're not comfortable and pleased with that, then you do something about it. But it's got to be you. It can't be any of these people here. So, and there's all kind of opinions on how you do that and how you raise additional revenue. I mean, that's up to you, or you reallocate what you have. So, I think that's the, you know, and somehow through the last few weeks or months, to me, that's been lost. It's off on, you know, oh, well, we can raise it for this, we can raise it for that, or we can raise it for this. Are we comfortable as a council and mayor where we rank in this county? And if we are, we leave it alone. If we're not, we do something about it. So
Let me ask you a question, man. It's my understanding, and I'm not trying to get on anybody, I just want to get this thing understood. You're talking about us stepping up. Don't we furnish 60% of the money for the whole county? Now, not Winfield, the county school system. 60% of the tax money comes from Hamilton to keep up all the schools.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, I think you'll
But
look
Gene,
at that right. And then
here's
we receive 40% of it back. So what's happening? We're keeping.
I don't know where you're getting your numbers.
Well,
if you can show them, I'll be glad to look at
well,
them.
if you can show me where they're not, I'll be glad. This is what I've been told. But you know that we take in.
Where'd you get that information?
It's just always been an information that we pay 60% of it and get 40 back.
That's not right. You pay
Well,
10 bills.
I'm
10
talking
bills property
about,
tax.
I'm talking about
Pay
the whole
10
county
bills.
school system.
That's
All
what I'm
the
talking about.
taxes
Everybody
come-
in the county,
I'm talking
our
about all
school
the taxes
district pays
come
10
in.
bills.
And then, because if we got all of our tax money that we paid in and didn't have to keep up Hackleburg, Bear Creek, and
Gene, it wouldn't matter if we closed every school in this county and we had one school, K-12, one school in the whole county, Marion County would still be 132nd out of 137.
well, we'd have money if we could keep it. We could keep all the tax money that we pay. We'd
You're
have.
not listening to me. It's 10
Well,
bills.
why are we
We-
137? You're the superintendent.
Why are we what?
Why are we 137?
We're 132nd out of 137
Yeah.
because we pay 10 mil minimum property tax. That's why.
How long has that been happening? How come? I'm
Well,
gonna ask you something.
Here's why we're dropping. Let me finish. You're gonna
Okay.
ask me a question.
Okay.
Here's why we're dropping. As your property tax values increase, and they do over time,
Oh, yes.
okay? So does the 10 mil. All right, we don't, because if you pay another $100 in property tax compared to what you paid 20 years ago, we don't get that $100. That's 10 mils. That's deducted on what we get from the state. So these other school systems that charge more than 10 mils for schools, as their property tax increases, what they get to keep also grows. That's why Marion County continues to drop.
But still, you're telling me that none of our tax money goes to keep up the other schools in the county. From the Hamilton tax money doesn't go to keep up the Hackleburg. Supposedly now, this is Hackleburg building a new school up there for $20 million. If they'd build it over there between Bear Creek and Hackleburg.
Not an option.
No, why though?
But-
Politics.
No, it's not.
Well, what else would it be but
Because
politics?
Because if we had not built it back in Hackleburg, we would have got 50% we've got $6 million.
Out of 20?
You got FEMA and the state come in to rebuild what we had, where we had it. Had we not have done it, we had an option of sitting here and not doing it and taking $6 million. So you got a decision, you want to build $6 million, or you want to get $20 million to build a school, and no cost to you. Now, what would you do?
Well,
So I said,
how they gonna
give you
fill that?
6 or 20.
How they gonna fill that $20 million school? Who's gonna pay for all the bills up there in it? I can imagine what the heating and cooling bill is gonna be, and it's gotta be politics somewhere. They could have took that 20 million and built over there and put 3 schools in. Something's wrong, or something's wrong with politics, or something's wrong with people. And I'm not talking about you now. Wait a minute. You know I'm not talking about you.
I know. But I'm trying to help you understand, we got an option of taking 6, or an option of taking 20. Well,
it'd
you
been
took
after,
the 20.
yeah, it'd been after the lawsuit if I'd been there.
Right.
Because that we needed to put it there and how those kids, to get 3 schools going to 1 school. There'd have been a lawsuit before I built a $20 million school up there for 30 seniors up there, 32.
So that's why we did it. You asked why, that's why we did it. I'll be glad to answer any other questions you have.
Well, I'm not on you.
Oh, I know. I'm just trying to help you understand the decision that was made by the board, not me.
Yeah,
Board.
that's what I mean. Well, I don't understand why somebody didn't fight
You
the board.
made a good point a few minutes ago. You said that you don't know a lot about our budget,
I don't.
and we don't know a lot about your budget.
Mine's online.
And
MCD, I'm there, it's posted. We have 2 budget hearings, probably just like you do.
we adopt a level budget. Whatever money we spent last year and we took in, we adopt a budget to fit those numbers. We're expected to spend all we get this year.
Right.
And that, it takes it to do the services, and we don't get all the services done. So, you know, we want to be helpful. We're trying to look at this thing logically and fair.
I think that's the point, and it's you guys, you know, the people here voted for you. So
I understand that. And I had very little idea that I'd ever get in the school tax business when I got in this office, but I'm in it. And I thought I was just gonna be helping provide services and growth for our city. But I'm for the children, and I'll never be against the children.
I don't see how you can have these roads and stuff, Mayor, without being for the school and having that. I just, those go hand in hand, you know, so, and I know you understand that.
But what do we do? We're sitting here needing $20 million worth. Not a person in here that won't tell you that they got streets around their house that needs paving. Hadn't been paved in 20 years. Streets needing paving, that's one of the worst things we had when we came into office. Well, we don't have the money to do a lot of things. And we got enough money to pay, what, 2 or 3 miles or something? Yeah, we hope. And then
Gene, I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't know the budget, you know, that's a decision y'all got to make. So at the end of it, if you sit here and tell the public, hey, this is all we can do, then that's all you can do.
Well, the public knows, and I think you know, I'm 100% for the schools, there's no question. But there's gotta be some other, well, you laugh back there, you're not even from Howard. And, you got to, understand that we've got to find that place to keep up the city of Hamilton too, plus the school. I'm 100% for it, I got kids in the school, I got kids teaching.
That's right.
And I taught myself, but I didn't make $20,000 to make 5 for coaching 12 months out of the year teaching.
A few years ago, right?
Oh, don't tell me.
Anyway, I won't take time up there, maybe other folks.
We appreciate you, I mean, but we're gonna do what we can to help the school. We're gonna do that.
We're looking for solutions. We've not let this come in a deaf ear. We are sensitive to the issue, and we think we're gonna find a solution. Might not be a referendum. We think we're gonna find a solution.
I don't think, you know, the folks that are here are concerned about, that are asking you to support the schools more. They could care less on where it's coming from. You know, they just want to see more dollars coming in there, and I think that's the passion. So if you share that, you know, and assure folks that's what you like to do, I think that's what they're looking for. in some kind of time frame, because, you know, we can sit here and talk about this thing all day long, and the saying paralysis of analysis. You know, we're paralyzed because we keep trying to analyze everything.
Well, I think
Sometimes you gotta drop the hammer and make a decision and move on.
So 2 weeks ago, I just found out about this.
Right.
First of May. And I've been hammered ever since about this, and I had no idea the school system was this bad.
Well,
I had no idea.
Kenneth,
You know, when I was elected to serve the citizens of Hamilton. We got 5 departments to fund. That's what we do.
yeah.
And we didn't know we was gonna have to fund the school. I'm not saying.
You don't have to, that's your
No,
choice.
but that's what is being put on us, demanding that we do this and do this.
There's no demand.
I think they're asking.
We heard from your side, and we heard from the second side of it the last of May. And I tried to tell Tyler this, that if people went for a vote for the people, he gets so upset, nobody, they're gonna vote it down. I told him that we'd do everything we could to help the schools. But there's got to be a right way to do it, and not make everybody mad and divide everybody over it. And that's what's happened.
Well,
Cause we have made several decisions, even the liquor tax, we've discussed that. We've discussed several things.
you know,
But
for
when
the
you only
last,
find out about things within 3 or 4 weeks.
you know, I don't, for the last, I don't know how many years, Kenneth,
But there's been
probably
no
8 years, 6 years, 8 years. Every year, I do an analysis when we close our fiscal year of what each community on a per student basis puts into the schools from each community. And I share that with the paper, and the paper's been publishing that. So if you've not read that, I mean.
Well, you already read about our budget, we
Yeah,
fund
that's right.
5 departments, you don't know our
That's-
budget, we don't
no,
know
I
your
know.
budget. That's what I'm talking about, and we didn't know the schools just out of shape. You're the superintendent, okay? We thought there was a handle on things, just like you think there's a handle on it, we got it under control. There's 2 sides to this, and we wanna help the schools, but we're put in a position saying we don't wanna help the schools at all. And that is not so.
I didn't say you didn't want to help schools.
And I
There
did.
is people saying this
I can't
about
control what other
us,
folks say.
about us.
I think
And I
the
there's been other
question,
mayors, there've been other councilmen in the past, this has never been brought up to them. Has it ever been brought up before?
I haven't, I don't, I'm the county school
So within the last 3 or 4
okay?
weeks, we're supposed to make
So-
a decision just like this, and,
Well,
you see what kind of predicament we're in? It's not an easy decision, is it?
I think the decision that you make is, like I said a minute ago, you know, when you look at the other cities in the county and what they do.
We're not the other cities in the county.
I understand that, but
I mean, we're Hamilton, we've got our own departments to run.
I understand.
We don't run these other towns, we don't run these other schools.
Right.
You know, that's the same way with you. You don't run Franklin, you don't run Winston and Lamar. It's aggravating when we get put in this and we just demanded it, you know, bring it for the people. You know, we're trying to come up with solutions.
Mr. Cochran, can I make one statement?
Now, you made a statement to me, the second meeting we had, you called me at my home. You remember what you said 2 weeks before the election?
I absolutely called, you know, can I make that statement what I called you about? Can I make that statement public? Can I
Yeah,
that
make it public.
All right, it's a statement public to Mr. Kenneth Cochran. We had a meeting the Monday before Mr. Williams' city
No,
council
I'm
meeting.
talking about the meeting that night. That day you called me 12, 1 o'clock.
Absolutely, that's gonna
When
leave
you
this
said you had
question.
about 20-something people
That's gonna
from
leave
the
that
school
question.
system to get me elected you in the field.
Did I say that? Let me
And
tell you
would
what
be
I
my
said.
chair-
At
you would be my
11:30.
chairman,
11:30.
and I told you if I got beat you in the field, hey, I'm not gonna rush into this.
That did not come from me. Let me tell you what I called.
That's
At
what you called.
11:30. No, I spoke to you.
That's what aggravated me. I don't
I
want to be
spoke to
bribed
you, sir.
about nothing.
And I don't want this to happen, but I spoke to you, sir. I was standing outside of Toll Gate after our group met at the principal's office that day. Spoke to you, I called you and asked you what's going on. You can tell you the rumors that I heard.
I don't know what you heard.
Well,
There's no telling.
you're talking about rumors, what you heard about me.
There's no
But you like
rumors.
that to
You
be told
called
about
me.
I called you and asked you. And you know what you said? You said, I'm danged if I do and danged if I don't.
And that's true.
And I said,
Ain't no lie.
and what I told you, Mr. Cochran, was the fact that we elected you and you gotta make a tough
And I said I
decision.
was elected for the citizens of Hamilton.
That's right.
That's right. That's what I just said a little bit.
Mr. Sanderson,
Yes, sir.
the Monday before Mr. Watha Williams had wanted to speak.
Presentation.
Presentation. Good, that's good. Presentation. Mr. Sanderson, did you not make the comment to me? Coming up, we need to push this we need to push this vote to after November, because Kenneth is running for election. It would be a bad situation for him.
Need to what now?
We need to push this vote to after the November election, because Mr. Cochran's running for election.
I said it'd be a good idea for him, yes. What was wrong with that?
Now,
That wasn't fair. You bring up something that's not fair to him at all.
I'm not
Yeah,
bringing it up. I'm
yes,
just-
you are.
He made a rumor
I
to
don't
me.
think there's a person in here that would disagree with that.
He made a rumor saying that I called him out. All I called him for.
It wasn't whether you were for him or not. If you was for him
I
or
called you,
against
I
him.
didn't say anything negative to you, sir. I said, where do you stand on this?
Mayor, you need to say something to me before I said that. We need to move this.
This, I don't, this is not what I want.
We obviously, for the children, anybody on the council is not, we're seeking solutions. We know there's two sides of the idea of voting and not voting, raising or not raising. We're looking closely at our budget to see if there's something in it that we can afford to bequeath to the schools. And
Well, I would think, in whether you're for any kind of tax or against any kind of tax, I would, certainly feel that everybody sitting in here, no matter which side of the fence you fall on, would certainly be supportive of school children, period. And that's where I feel like it's kind of run off to some degree and getting into the weeds, and you're right, to look at options to figure out how you're going to do that, and how you're going to come up with that. So, whether the folks decide on anything, or whether you're able to take that within your realm and make decisions and move forward, so.
I don't think we're gonna need someone to come and prompt us every meeting to help the children. I think we plan to help the children, but we got to decide how we can help and how much we can help. And, it's not gonna be the public's. In 2 more years, you can get you a brand new mayor, a brand new council to make all these tough decisions. Well, we think we're gonna come up with a solution that a lot of people are gonna like.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
And
One more thing before I sit down. I know you're aware of the SRO situation that the board has, you received a letter, so I hope, whether you can get it done in the next couple of weeks or not, but,
we're keeping.
if it's after that, then whoever's there.
We're keeping a close eye on the governor's office and the
Right.
decisions that are coming out of there as far as what they plan to do to be helpful. And we also know that we have a responsibility for safety, and part of that.
I do believe within a year,
Part of
the next
that's
budget,
gonna
you'll
fall
see
on us.
something coming out of the ETL that's funding that, so.
Can you explain the Century program?
Well, I know what she said. The governor, that being, to explain it, she's charged the state superintendent with developing the guidelines and gave him 2 weeks to do that. So those are due at the end of this week. I've not seen those. So, I don't really, other than the press release that you all read, I've not seen anything any different. So basically allowing the way it would be if you don't have an SRO is allowing a school administrator, on a volunteer basis, should the board approve it, to have a gun under a lock, biometric safe, with, and part of that becoming a reserve deputy with all his training. And, Kevin, Sheriff Williams does not have a reserve deputy program at the time, so to try to do all this in 60 days with school starting in August, you're not developing guidelines till June the 15th, and then get whatever training is required and so forth, it's going to be extremely tight to try to have it in place, when school starts. So, but I would look for, sometime next week, Tammy, to have the details will probably be released on that as far as the guidelines. They're still developing the training, so it's, that's all I know to share with you, is just what you've read. So, thank you, Mayor.
Would it be safe to say that there may be a push, and we may not have every officer exactly educated at August, but we'll be working on it?
Well,
We
I'm
might
talking
have
about
it
the senior
where we
program.
Put him in place.
I think they're gonna, through Leah, I think they're actually gonna develop a 2-day training program and not be the long program that actual SRO would require, just so that, you know, administrator, but I don't know if we have administrators here, I know we do. So I know they're not in their office
I hate
during
to
the
see
school
that.
day. No, I mean, what I'm saying is, in their school day, they're out in the school, you know, where they need to be, not sitting in their office. And their firearm would be in their office should that happen, and you have that, you know, how do you get back? I mean, it's just a lot of questions. The
Well-
SRO is the way to go, but it's,
Truly, arming teachers, you know, that's putting a lot of new things in the job description, in my opinion.
I think I do think in the 20 budget, you'll see the state fund that SRO. I think this is just something to try to help you get to that point so they can get back in session, so. Anything else?
We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Good evening.
Good.
Most of y'all know who I am. I'm Benja Jackson. Mr. Jackson is my father, and I'm currently the assistant principal at Hamilton Middle School. And educators usually don't say a whole lot. We usually stay quiet and professional and don't say a whole lot about what's going on around us when it deals with school. But I felt like, as an educator, as an administrator, that I felt like we needed a voice. And so I'm a first-year administrator, but I am a longtime teacher in the Marion County school system. I come from a family of educators. Most of you know my parents, my sister, grandparents, pretty much my whole family has been in education, and we have served this community and its students for many, many years. I taught U.S. history and world history, including AP history, served as a yearbook sponsor, was a junior sponsor, and the history club sponsor at Marion High School for 10 years. And I would like to address the council as both an educator and as a citizen of this community. First, I would like to say that I understand how difficult serving the public can be. I watched my dad do it for 12 years and worked with him during that time as well. And I know how difficult serving the public can be, especially when you're dealing with competing interests and ideas about what is best for a community coming from all sides. However, just because an issue is difficult or controversial does not mean the issue should be ignored or brushed aside. In my opinion, it is past time that this community and its government take a larger role in providing for the students at our 3 schools. The teachers of this community have stepped into this gap for a very, very long time. And I know that because I was one. My sister is one. And as an educator at the high school, I bought extra notebooks, pencils, pens, other school supplies. I bought cleaning supplies for my classroom. I provided Kleenex, Germ-X, bought supplemental materials for my classes, paid for field trips for students, loaned or gave snack money, gave lunch money, found or bought books for students to borrow, bought study aids for the AP exam last year. I bought breakfast for all my students on the day of the AP exam so I could make sure that they were ready for that 4-hour test. I paid club fees, and the list goes on and on. And I don't say that to say, oh, great, I'm great and wonderful. I say that to say that almost every teacher in this school does that. Every single one. And they do it willingly and because they love their kids. I typically spend at least $500, usually more than that, per year out of my pocket. And like I said, almost every teacher I know spends that kind of money every single year. Why do we do that? Because we're teachers and we're invested in the future of our students. We see the potential in those students, and that potential is just there for somebody, waiting for somebody to tap into it. We see and we know that these students are the foundation of the future of this community. And it's time that this community sees and realizes that as well. If we as citizens want to see growth, we have to be willing to invest in that growth. Part of that is supporting our local schools, not just with empty words and infighting, but with tangible action. Robert Zoellick, who's the former president of the World Bank and a non-public servant, said, "There are many roads to prosperity, but one must be taken, and action leads nowhere." We can no longer say that we support our schools, but continue to allow students to allow others to shoulder all the burden. As a taxpayer, I don't relish the idea of paying more. I'm single, I'm solely responsible for myself financially, but I'm more than willing to do that. I'm already doing that. Our students deserve the best education we can offer them. They should have the same resources and opportunities as more affluent parts of the state. Instead of talking about who is paying for what and fighting about who is responsible, we should take time to focus on what this issue is really about, our students. It is time for this council to allow the citizens of this community to decide whether or not they care enough to invest in the future of our students. I would respectfully ask that the vote be allowed to proceed, and if not, other solutions will be found. Thank you.
Can I make one last comment? I want to apologize to everyone for, Mr. Scott, apologize.
I'm sorry too.
All right.
It's just aggravating to me, because I care about our schools.
That's all I want to say.
I mean, it's kind of.
Go ahead and let her read.
No, I don't
Go
need,
ahead.
Oh, you-
last week y'all were gonna have a meeting this morning with the county commission.
Yes,
Did you meet with them?
yes, I met with the
And
county
what did
commission.
they say?
Only subject we spoke about was the SROs.
So you didn't talk
School-
about money for the school system?
We didn't talk about
or
money for the
anything?
school, no, we talked about the SROs. There's a lot of, there's, the money, there's 6%, or 6 meals goes to the county, that money is separated out. I'm not getting into the county's budget, I'm not getting into the city's budget. But all I asked them this morning is that with the Marion County Board of Education providing $10 an hour for SROs, if, you know, I talked to the mayor last week, if somehow we could work Board of Education, County Commission's office, and the city together, three-way split this, but I think when those school doors open in August, those kids need safety. And I think that's I think everybody's top priority there for sure. But that's all we spoke about.
Okay.
And then, that's it.
Okay.
You wouldn't get this money in August anyway, but it's embarrassing for our town to be split like it's split on something like this. I mean, there's nobody here that cares any more about these kids than the citizens of Hamilton, Alabama. I mean, I don't like the way that you push the buy meal on. I'm just speaking for myself and for my renters. I represent 400 renters in this town. They can't afford that extra $25 a month on that tax. It's gonna cost me, I'm paying $2,800 extra right now on the bar tax to support the fire department. I bought a $100 ticket today for something the school was selling. I didn't know what it was. I spent $7,000 over on them buildings at the football field, and my 3 hands labor redoing both of them, never got a dime. I've never got a thank you. I've been for 14 years on a trip to New York, give a week of my time, never got a dime out of sport. I put as much money in that school, I guarantee there's any teacher there, and I'm married to one of them. And I appreciate every job y'all do. I think you do a wonderful job. But I think where you've misrepresented this school, you needed to come to the council and work it out with the council and said, you ought to have a plan before you ever come up here and start badmouthing somebody. I'm not talking bad about you.
Sir,
I appreciate what
sir.
you're doing. Let me talk, then you can.
Okay.
I appreciate what you're doing. I like that you're stepping up trying to make something happen. I'm just saying it's the way we're doing it. If you'd have come in here and said, hey, we want one meal and we're going to show you what we're going to do with it, then we're going to get another meal the next year and do it over 10 years, you probably would have got this whole people's support. You know, a little bit you can get. You got to crawl before you can walk. And I appreciate the school staff. It looks good to have y'all represented. I mean, I want to see you step up for these kids. I want to see these kids have, I got 3 grandkids. I want to see them have a safe place to go to school. But I don't want you bad-mouthing my council, my mayor. Y'all doing a wonderful job. And y'all are too. But we don't need to get into this dicker. Y'all need to get this worked out and have that where when they present it to us, y'all shouldn't have to be arguing on them to get them to present it to us. Y'all ought to done have that worked out. That just splits your community. We don't need no more split. Hamilton Winfield is taking off, ahead of us right now and doing all this stuff that we need to be doing. Our renters need more housing. Teachers and churches call me all the time wanting a nice house to rent. And if we go up on our taxes, we can't make no money. Right now, I guarantee you, I'm renting a house for $300 less than you can go to Winfield and rent one a month, a nice house. And I mean, we've got to have jobs and we've got to have things to raise this money. Go get with them and get you a program that works. What would you got out of money, one meal out of your property tax? What would it?
$46,000.
46,000 over 10 years, what would it have done? Would the people notice this? Would it have been such a big burden on the community? And if you'd have done the businesses, like me, I'm going to pay 10 times what everybody else is going to pay. I'm paying taxes on 86 houses. I mean, it's going to kill me. It's going to make the difference for my business much. It's not these people that's got small businesses. They got to survive. You show me a small business in Hamilton, Alabama right now, a little mom and pop business that's making good money.
You'd be surprised. They ain't none out there. They're surviving. That's all they're doing.
What's your name, sir?
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
And you're who?
Tyler Knight. I want to make a comment though, because my opening statement, I guess you misunderstood.
First time I've been here.
Misunderstood. You know, the first opening statement this morning is, I met with Mr. Sanderson, Mr. Page, and Mr. Winsett multiple times, discussing everything. No formal meeting. I don't want this. I don't want any of this. But I met with him the last meeting we had, and I invited Mr. Cochran. I did not know Ms. Williams, but I invited Mr. Cochran because he was friends with Mr. Devers. He was not able to attend that Thursday meeting we had.
She called me around 9 or 10, you was going
Yeah.
to meet at 12.
That's right. And so Scott Hunt was in attendance. Barbara Cooper was via the phone, mobile phone. I presented them this option because at the time, the city financials, Mr. Sanderson, Mr. Winsett, Mr. Page, the city wasn't able to do anything. Wasn't able to do anything. When we found out the information from Ms. Cooper that our millage was lower than anybody in the county, I requested to them.
Well, be proud of that.
Yeah. Yes, we ought to be proud of that. But we are backing up because of that in some ways. But I requested by Mr. Page to come present that, what I presented the first council meeting. I asked that request, and not Mr. Page. That was it. That's all I asked. And all we asked for was a vote of the people. We weren't forcing or demanding nothing. But I was giving no
But you
other.
were upset because you wasn't going to get it.
No, I'm not upset we're not going to get it.
But why do you go for the highest?
That's not the
10
highest.
mils, 10 mils is about the highest you can get.
10 mils is all you get. The highest maximum is 7.5.
It's going to
But-
be 10
but-
on
but-
commercial property.
but now- But now, Miss,
It doesn't.
But the highest you can ask is 7.5, so you can actually do it 15.
something that you said a while ago, according to the Revenue Commission, is not so.
Why you
What's that?
The Revenue Commission told me, the Revenue Commissioner told me that they could pass a tax on just land, no assets. She told me that. Now, I don't know if that's so or not, but
Well-
that's her job.
Scott Hunt, I talked to Barbara Cooper this morning. She's vacationing today, or she'd be here tonight. I've spoke to her multiple times each week.
Because she told me they could have revised the fire tax and just paid it on property.
I also want to let everyone know too, and Mr. Williams made up a good point when he done his presentation about NTN. I went and met with NTN, Mark Hankins, the HR manager. He's from Hamilton, doesn't live here anymore. I don't think it's fair, and I meant to say that tonight. It's not fair. I wish there's a way we could cap the property tax. There's not a right or wrong in anything, and I'm not demanding anything, Mr. Rogers. I want you to know that. I'm not demanding anything.
Well,
And-
where'd you come up with the 10 mil on the commercial?
That's the law.
If you do
Personal,
5, it
it's
automatically
double.
goes to 10.
Personal's 5, and the business is double every time. That's Mr. Cooper's not here, but that's fact.
If I can clarify one thing, when he says what he says about how some people are going to suffer from this more in the sense that they pay more than other people, is that the way taxes are set up in this area, you don't pay on what the property actually sells for, what you actually purchase it for.
what
You
they
pay
value.
what it's appraisal
That's
for.
exactly right. You pay
I've
on the
got
appraisal.
properties that I couldn't sell for $25,000 if my life depended on it, that are appraised at 60 or 70 because that's what they're worth in Birmingham. And I can speak, I feel like I have a leg to stand on both sides of the argument because I have 3 children that are about to go into school. But I'm also a self-started business owner that took out a loan, started buying rental properties, and almost 100% of my income comes from the property that I manage and the houses that I rent. I can name 10 people off the top of my head that would have to move out if I raise my rent. And I've already done the math. 10 meals, I can't even afford to feed my kids with
Well,
another
it's
10%.
10 bills on rental property too. It's not commercial property, it's rental property.
It's business, anything business. yeah.
It's rental
commercial.
property.
That's right, rental,
It don't
commercial,
have to be
anything.
commercial.
And
Nothing but personal is fine.
But what I'm saying is,
It can be a rental house and be 10%.
Correct.
The only thing that's 5% is a residential house that somebody lives in.
Correct, yes, sir.
well,
Yes, sir.
my next point on that too, and I'm sure I apologize if I've repeated things that have already been repeated in previous meetings. I looked on the Alabama survey. There's 7,500 people, according to the Alabama survey, that live in this city. Only like 4,300 of us even own over an acre of land. I mean, then you go down to people who own multiple properties that rent out properties. I mean, you're looking at, by the time you actually do the math of the number of people in the county versus the number of people that are actually paying the majority of this tax, less than 25% of the county is paying 80% of this tax. And I would like to say on a completely separate note, I feel like a lot of people, you especially, have been misrepresented by Facebook. This whole entire ordeal has been destroyed on Facebook. I have seen names of people I didn't even know lived in this city talking trash, but just like he said, I'm ashamed. I've lived all over the East Coast and all out in the Midwest, and I'm ashamed to have to sit. The first time I see my town on big news is people who are saying, have you seen how bad they're making fun of Hamilton on Facebook because we can't even get along over a tax in a council meeting? And I say for anybody who sees this recording that didn't bother to come down to this meeting and badmouth this gentleman or any of these people on this bench, shame on you for even opening your mouth if you didn't have the guts to come down here and be a part of your city. I mean, it's embarrassing to see the people. We had, what, 2,000 people show up from Hamilton and vote in this last election. We've got 6,000 on Facebook bashing our council, bashing our mayor, bashing landowners and teachers, and it's people that grew up in this society and ought to know better. I mean, I served in the military for 4 years, and all I ever heard is from some little Mayberry town in the middle of nowhere. And there's nothing about what I've seen in the last few weeks in my town that looks anything like Mayberry. We look like a bunch of idiots, and God forgive me, I mean, we do. We look like a bunch of idiots that can't even get along long enough to talk about a subject that should matter, because we care about our kids. I care about them. Like I said, I got 3 of them that are about to enter the school system. But what's being proposed, I literally can't pay without putting some of my tenants out of a home. And I don't care. I wouldn't care at all to bring my taxes down here and prove it in front of the council if anybody has anything they disagree on that. I mean, I literally could not afford the tax and stay in business. And I came home to this town. I mean, I had offers in plenty of other towns. I wanted to come back because I love this community. I love the people. I grew up with almost every single person in this room other than a handful of you. And it is hard, and I'm sure you can attest to it because I've seen your, and I'm pointing out you because I've seen your name a few times on Facebook in this issue. I know you have to have felt it harder than anybody because you brought it up. It's become very personal. I've not even voiced my opinion other than once online. I've been confronted in my own business and on the street at Walmart, jumped on because I must be against it because I'm a landowner. We've got to come together as a city and find a way to take care of our kids, but also take care of our community. Because the fact of the matter is we're going to have to do something, but we're going to have to do something we can all survive.
Can I say something since we're having a kumbaya moment here, everybody's coming together? I've been in business since '86 here, and our problem is not as difficult as we're all making it kind of sound. I personally think raising sales tax would be kind of the kiss of death right now because we're finally building some momentum with retail sales. Y'all probably seen revenue is going up the last year and a half probably. I know ours has after being dead on the vine for about 15 years and wondering if we were going to keep the doors open. But if y'all want to see some progress in what y'all's dollars are doing, go look at Tupelo High School at that football stadium they've got out there and the facilities that we have built with our money, you know, and I'm pointing fingers at myself too. And I'm speaking on behalf of most of the merchants in this county that are struggling because we don't shop at home. Now I'm looking around at customers. Most all of y'all shop with me, and you don't know how much we appreciate it. But as Marion Countyans, I think we're probably spending less than 20% of our retail dollars in Marion County, which is really sad. And if we had the same attitude that some of these other cities in the county have about shopping local, and they insist on it, and I'm not saying everybody has to come shop with me. That would be good, but that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, we've got more businesses in Hamilton, Alabama right now than we've ever had. And I've been here since '86. We've got more variety, and the more we have, the more there is to offer our customers and less reason to go out of town. And I don't blame anybody if they come in my store and we don't treat them good, or we're too high, or we hadn't got what they're looking for, go somewhere else. But I think if everybody gave the merchants in our town a little more effort, if you just doubled the amount of dollars that you spent in Hamilton, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now because our sales tax revenue would double and y'all would have a surplus of money and you could just hand it over to the schools and we could do all the improvements we want to do. But if we want to come together as a community, we've got to be invested in our community. And listen, I'm not going to point fingers because we go out of town and shop, but I will say this, we don't buy anything out of town that we can get here. We shop here, my family and I do. We buy our groceries here. I'll be coming back from Tupelo and I don't stop at Walmart to fill up my gas, you know. I wait till I get here and I buy it local, you know, because these are the people that shop with me. And it's not a hard problem, but it does take a lot of discipline, and I think our problems could be solved by that. You know, there's plenty of places here right now. We've got little shops and boutiques opening up on every corner in town right now. There were 14 empty buildings downtown at one time in the late 80s, and right now there's maybe 3, and none of them are rentable right now because they're just in such poor condition. But that's a good problem to have. And I have people come in the store every day that are wanting to know if they know of a building downtown they can rent, that are looking to open up another building. And right now the climate's good, the economy is good right now, it's really picking up, people's confidence. I mean, when people are buying jewelry, they're pretty dadgum confident, you know, it's not milk and bread. And we're thankful for that, because you should have seen us trying to sell it when people were just trying to pay the rent and the power bill. But things are picking up, and I think if we'd everybody just make a little more conscious effort to spend their dollars local and have pride in that, you know. I can tell you, our competitor across the county, you know, I'm joking when I say that, but Winfield, their people, they take pride in shopping local. In fact, the school will not spend any money outside of the town if they can get it there. Whatever they need, if it's a bucket of paint or whatever, they buy it local. They insist on it. It's mandatory. And we need to have that same motto and same discipline here. And I'm done.
Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Knight for moving into Hamilton here and trying to get something done. I'm certainly not against him because of what he says and what he's trying to do, because I agree with him on about 80% of it. And I want him to know that, and everybody else to know it. We've all got to come together, and I'm glad to see all the people here. You know, we've never had this before, but the city's got a problem. Y'all know it. The education system's got a problem. Mr. Hollingsworth can't help it because the education system's got a problem, and we certainly can't help it because the city's got a problem, but we're trying to get it straightened out. We're doing everything, and most of you people know that. And we've improved like you said, the taxes have improved, and we've got some stuff coming in that pretty soon it's going to improve the taxes here. But you know, I found out something. Me being in the building business, when I wanted to do something, I did it. You don't do that up here. It takes a while. You're talking about 2 to 3 years to get anything done. This is politics now, and that's our problem now, is politics. But I just want you to know I really appreciate him, what he's tried to do here. Even though you don't agree with some of it, well, he's still trying. And that's what a lot of us haven't been doing in the last 20 years, or we'd be better off.
We certainly don't want our community divided. Our effort, I know my effort when I ran for council was to try to make a unified Hamilton. And things like this, when you start having difference of opinion, it's easy to have division in your community. It's not what we need. We need a community pulling together. And we're looking for the right answer to this matter. It's not something we're turning deaf ears to, and everything don't happen on a moment's notice. So, I mean, we're still struggling with this a little bit, but we think we'll find a solution. We might even find some money that satisfies the need. Our budget's being examined closely. I've had Mr. Campbell look at the budget, and I'm going to have to be with him again, our accountant. He's going to look some more at our budget, see if we can find some dollars in there that we can do without. We're going to have to leave off some services, but we're going to find some common ground. And we haven't heard from Mr. Williams tonight. Do you have a little presentation tonight?
Well, I'm going to pass on. I know the extension superintendent. I'll make that. I got a little bit of voice. This is my position on it. Everybody here, you know, everybody says they just hates kids and all this bull crap, and you say anything you want to, you know it's not really true down in your heart. But if you own property in Hamilton, Alabama, we know this property went on forever. I mean, Education Department would have raised this millage a long time ago if they could. Y'all all know that, wouldn't it? I mean, Brady, you know that. Yeah. It'd have happened. One time when we went city school system, come within 2 or 3 votes, or 10 or 20 or something, you know. Maybe that'd have been the thing to have done way back then, but that's all history. Now then, this situation, if a person just owns a house, you know, and they're on Social Security, maybe the tax wouldn't even affect them, you know. But if they draw in a little side check somewhere, maybe they're gonna have to pay this millage also, because going to school, I don't think you can avoid it if it's directly going to school. If it was just going to the city, it'd be different. Excuse me. But anyway, a person's home is probably the greatest investment they're gonna have in this poor community here. And I mean, it's something people look forward to, buying and getting it, you know. Okay, you spend everything you got. Okay, then if you got a rent house, I've got 53 renters, what I got. Okay, that is my retirement. I mean, y'all made y'all's retirement, and thank goodness you were there to do a good job and make a retirement. Maybe you're spending $500 a year, but this old boy right here maybe spend $10,000 a year just on some of the junk I put up with. But anyway, you got to look at it like that. I mean, you got your retirement covered up where even a lawsuit couldn't take your retirement away from you. I mean, it's sealed there. You've got it, and when you retire, you're gonna get it each month, or as you need it, I guess. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, property to some people is their retirement. Getting back to the tax thing. Okay, we was talking about other towns, and like Gene brought up. Okay, Hamilton is undoubtedly the most valuable town in this county. I mean, our property tax, I don't have the numbers on it, but it's got to be the most of any in this whole county. Okay, and like someone brought up a while ago, the state continually, every year, the value of property is going to go up. Well, does the school system not get some of that? Okay, then we're looking forward, maybe there's
I answered that.
Okay, you did. Okay.
We don't.
You don't get any of it? If we get in more, you don't get none?
If you get more than 10 mills, they take that off what they send you. So we get, because if you paid another, you own 50-something property.
I'm not talking about that. My house is worth $10 and the price of it goes up to $100. You get that extra millage, what it produces, you don't?
No.
So,
I get the same property.
So we're just getting $500 a year.
They send me less than the state.
Okay, but
So
if we added this on, I don't see how it helps if you still ain't gonna get none of it. What I'm saying, the value of it is being raised up.
You're not adding that for the school. You're adding, that money goes to the city. And the city allocates it to the school. It's not a collection.
The city don't, the county does.
No, what they're talking about is a 5 mil tax on property within the city that would go to the city council. And then they would allocate that to the schools. It's not the Board of Education. We're not in the loop on that.
Okay. All right, I'm wrong with that. Okay. There's other ways of doing this, and somebody said 30 merchants right here signed it. Okay, I understand like 30% of the people in this town owns property. Okay, it's gonna hurt the people that owns this property much worse than it will the 30 merchants here. And like he said,
30 right around the
you done spoke, okay. The 30 merchants, if they're on the edge of 1 penny, they need to go to house anyway, because that's not going to bankrupt them right there. I know I've been in business 46 years, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a fight that we don't like going into this situation if we go with a property tax. But if like the trucks start coming in, maybe the goodness there's going to be so much new revenue that y'all will be able to actually help the schools out. You know, maybe we won't even have to face this problem on down the road. But just to make a decision like that, it's not time. Thank you.
Mayor Page, Wednesday during the work session, and I think you could relieve a lot of tension in this room, you guys came up with the idea of giving all the alcohol tax to the schools. And on Wednesday, you and Mr. Sanderson said that y'all thought you'd be fine with that. And I know as far as schools concerned, and as far as these merchants, these guys that own all this property, if you gave us that tax off that alcohol, we wouldn't be worried about looking for a 5 mils tax. I think that would help us for the time being. And if we have SRO to start the school, Mr. Hollingworth has offered $10 an hour. That would be a huge start for us as far as school. I don't think you'd see all this tension. We wouldn't be worried about the tax. Give us alcohol money, SRO, and we're right now
that would help us tremendously. It would help towards school safety. It would help give us what we need at school for the time being. And if we want to improve our schools, if the city council later on gets a lot of money coming in, wants to help our schools, then just fund our schools some more. But that would, you guys came up with that solution Wednesday during work session, and that wouldn't, I don't think it would hurt anyone here. Whether the property owner, or whether it would be a merchant, or whether it would be anyone else. I think that was a great idea. It's just my opinion. I think you'd have a lot less crowd here.
Unless we went up on the liquor tax.
Sir?
Unless we went up on the liquor tax.
I just think I'd help everyone involved. And you guys mentioned that Wednesday. I just think that was a really good idea. Really was.
Have y'all looked at the beer tax and doing something on beer and wine? We don't even have a tax on beer right now, do we?
Not that's going to school, but anybody.
No, we know we're gonna look into that.
That, and also Winfield's got a tax for the distributor bringing it in, always, they pay a tax also just to bring it into the cities. I mean, that's something we look at, that's just that much more money to the school. I mean, I'm all for areas like that, and we'll work with these people any way we can as businesses in town. I'm proud of what you're doing, I really am, because we need something. I want to see these schools improve. But that's what, if we got an idea and you see something, look, a study is hard to find something to help them, as we do to pass the tax. You know what I'm saying?
Let me say something.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I'm the one, I guess, caused the beer things to go wet. If y'all remember, my name was smeared in the paper. Down here at trade school, we sat down there from 11 to 3:30, projecting this, projecting that. And I was county commissioner. And all up and down the road, you could drive up and down the road, beer cans. All right there in my home district, people going over yonder to call the gravel pit buying beer. And I mentioned, oh, they just smeared me. But what it was wet. We could have so many cases of beer and whiskey in your car, but we wasn't getting no taxes. And we're getting taxes now, I don't know how much it's gonna amount to. I don't drink, don't fool with it no way in the world, but I see all this was going on. What we was doing, the cash register was dry.
Thank you, Bobby.
It's getting a little wet now.
And another thing, I talked to a retired trooper. He said it was easier to work a wet county than it was a dry county, because they go get it, come in drunk, everything else.
Well, I got to say this about it. I haven't saw a drunk on the streets or anybody drinking any more than they were since it's gone wet. And I think everybody else will agree with that. You never see anybody. They must be buying and carrying it home.
That's because it's all in to-go cups. I said that's because it's all in to-go cups.
Oh.
Well, I think that we have a fine community here in Hamilton. I don't want anything to disrupt our harmony. We're going to find a solution to the problem. We won't declare a vote tonight. We're searching for a solution. Mr. Devers alluded to one possible solution. We're certainly looking into that at this time. We're not ready to make a declaration tonight of any funds going to the school. We're not saying there's not going to be funds going to the school. We'll find a way to do our part. Our community believes in our schools, our teachers, our leaders. Our city is much behind our education system. It means very, very much to me, and I know it does to each of these people that sit on this bench with me tonight. So, like I say, we're seeking a solution. A lot of times when you jump into something, it looks like it might be the right direction to travel. You might be saying you're procrastinating. No, we've listened to the problem. We know what the problem is. We're looking for a solution to the problem. But it won't be made tonight. And it won't be made until we're ready to announce it. But this group will get a solution to this problem. It may not please everyone, but we want it to not disunify our community. I mean, we're trying to bring this community together. We got people looking at Hamilton, Alabama, business people that have never given us the time of day. We've got folks wanting to come to Hamilton, put in business, move to Hamilton. They're thinking Hamilton's got something going on. And this is a new trend, and we want to keep it moving that way. Our taxes do look better right now. The sales tax look better right now than they have in a long time. We're not dramatically moving those up, but we're steadily moving those up. So stick with us, people. We're not going to let this school go lacking. We've been made aware of our shortfalls, and we're planning a solution. We're planning to find some help for you. But I don't know if taxation is the exact way to go. I'm just saying, let us see if we've got something we can pull out of our budget and apply to the school's needs. Yes, sir.
I'm a local business owner, Thomas Rosen. The only thing, I've been here for 30 years, and I'm the one that giggled back there in the crowd. So when you call somebody out, make sure they do live in the city limits, Mr. Sanderson.
Well,
be correct before you speak, please.
I will.
And I do not like being compared to Winfield, you all. That means the whole crowd. We are not here as the city of Hamilton, of our Aggies, be competitive or always bringing up Winfield this, Winfield that. We are Hamilton. And that's the only thing that we need to be looking at. Don't compare us to another city, please. We are Hamilton.
And you live in the city limits?
Yes, sir. And we are the county seat. We are the county seat of this county. We need to get our act together as far as a city. And don't bring us up competing against another city that's in our county. We are no better than they are, and they are no better than we are. We are Hamilton. That's all I have to say. Yes, sir.
Sorry. I thought you said you didn't live in the city limits.
I never spoke that, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But when you made that sarcastic comment, without looking around, the gentleman that was standing here.
About what?
About you and your giggling in the back, you don't even live in the city. Oh, yes, I do. And I own property in this city. I pay taxes in this city.
Well, good. I didn't know that. I was asking the question. If
you need to look
I thought
before you respond, sir.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, you're very much welcome to that.
Amen, brother.
All right. Okay. We appreciate. Yes, sir.
I'd like to say that I was born and raised in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And that city, whole state is wet. And just off the taxes they raised up there, has got their school systems immaculate. So that, I know there's a way. We just gotta find it.
Mr. Mayor,
yes,
before you go too far, please don't throw away the senior center. But not only that, but if you're gonna raise the tax on the liquor, let me know so I can go get my supply.
folks elected us, we're gonna do our job. We've got a job to do. We've got lots to do, as a matter of fact. This is just a new thing that's come along that, maybe should have been addressed years ago. It's come the time to address it now. We're in the process of addressing. Ms. Tammy, you got any comments you'd like to make? You want to follow up on that? You guys got any other things you want? There's no other business, then we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Got a second, all in favor? We'll find a solution, folks, don't give up.